So welcome back to another video, and today we have the infamous $95 laptop I acquired almost 6 months ago at this point, the ThinkPad A485. And in today's video I'm going to be giving my almost 6 month review or opinion on this laptop, because now that I've used it for a while I have some thoughts I want to say about it, and I want to pass those along to you in case you were ever interested in buying a laptop similar or exactly the same to this one. So with that being said, let's get started. Alright, so first up we have the specs, just in case you don't recognize this computer, like you're a new viewer or you never saw that video. So anyways, we have a AMD Ryzen 5 Pro 2500U. Now the difference between the Pro and the non-Pro is basically just additional security features. There's really no performance benefits or anything. It's just a different variant with more security features. We have 16 gigs of RAM, which I added an additional 8 gig stick because it only came with 8. And then we have integrated Vega 8 graphics, and you may have noticed this as 15. That's because 1 gig is dedicated to the iGPU. Now, I didn't mention the RAM speed, and you may have seen it. It's 2400 megahertz running on dual channel. The officially maximum supported speed for this chip. It also comes with a 256 gig NVMe SSD. With the specs out of the way, let me start from the bottom here. Nice backlit keyboard, which is manual. It's not like a Mac. You got to do it manually. You got low and then you got high, which is fine. I don't really mind doing it manually because I don't always want it, but it is nice to have in case you're in a dark room or in a vehicle. It's like a bus for whatever. It is nice to have a backlit keyboard. I'm not really a fan of this whole pointer nub thing. I mean, it works, and it's just kind of useless in my opinion. I mean, trackpad is perfectly serviceable. I don't know why you need this stupid red knob thingy-majig, but anyways, keyboard overall feels okay. I mean, it's not no mechanical keyboard you'd find, for $100 at Best Buy or something, but it's the laptop keyboard. It sounds fine. It feels fine for a laptop. Nothing exciting. While we're down here, let's talk about the build quality. As you can see, I'm picking it up from the corner, and there's absolutely zero flex. That is because this is a ex-business / school laptop. I mean, more than likely it's business because it's in a good nick, or good condition if you don't know what that means. So I'm going to assume this probably came from a business of some sort because it's in such good shape. But these ex-business computers I've found to be a lot better than your standard consumer grade laptops in terms of build quality and just overall how it feels in the hand, and you get more features for like the same price or less. I mean, for example, what consumer average laptop has a backlit keyboard? Not many. And how many have a fingerprint reader? Some, not many. I mean, this is just useless, this thing. But anyways, we already went over that. Overall, I like the build quality, I like the keyboard. And if we move up here, we have the screen. Screen is 1080p, it's only 60 hertz, but for a business computer, that's perfectly fine. You don't need any more. Now, can you game on this? The answer is yes. I did a video on that a couple months back. But either way, you can do some light gaming on this. Overall, after using it for almost 6 months, it's saved my ass many times. I'll say that when my desktop decides to say screw off and it doesn't work, or Windows decides to corrupt itself, I pull this thing out and I do what I need to do, or I make a new Windows installer, boom, plug it into the computer, and you're good to go. So this thing has saved my ass many times in the time of me owning it. Now, yes, I do have other laptops I could use, but this is, in all honesty, the laptop I go for whenever I need a laptop for going somewhere. I need to bring a computer for whatever reason, or I need to fix someone else's computer that requires, say, a BIOS upgrade, so I need a flash drive to put, all that shit. This is always the laptop I grab because, well, it's the best I own. So yeah, overall I am very impressed with this. One thing I will say I'm not impressed with is battery life. Now, this computer is interesting. It has an internal and an external battery. The internal battery is pretty small. It's kind of pointless. I mean, I started the video at 77%. and we are down to 72%, and the CPU's not even doing anything. There's nothing happening. So the internal battery is kind of shitty. The battery health is at about 92%, so it's really not even that degraded. It's just kind of a backup battery in case something happens, like your main dies, you need to save something, whatever. The internal battery is kind of pointless. But I did put a big Chungus external battery, as you can see. It's a bit thicker than the actual computer itself. Now the original battery that came with this and is supposed to go in this for external is the same thickness, so it doesn't stick out at all. I didn't like that. it didn't last very long, so I put in big Chungus, and with that I can get, just doing basic, schoolwork and just browsing, I can get a couple days battery life out of this. Now obviously it depends on the screen brightness, depends on what I'm doing, but just basic light stuff I can get probably about 2 days on a single charge. Now this has been off the charge for about 3-4 days, but that's because I haven't been using it that much. But if you're careful with what you're doing, I'd say you can probably stretch the battery life at least 2 days. So with that all being said, would I recommend buying one of these laptops, the A485 ThinkPad by Lenovo? Overall, I'd say if you have $100 to spend, why not? It's a really solid computer for the price. You're getting quad-core 8-threaded CPU, base frequency of 2 gigahertz, but it can turbo to 3 point something, so it's not a slow chip by any means. It's perfectly fine for day-to-day use. It's perfectly snappy even on Windows 11. There's really nothing to complain about with this computer, besides this useless thing here, which, whatever. and the battery life can be hit or miss depending on what you're doing. But before I end the video, I want to talk about one more thing. This fingerprint reader. Remember how I just said there's not much else to complain about? Well, the fingerprint reader is the last thing I want to go over. The fingerprint reader, it works when it wants to work, and that's about 25% of the time. Because how I have it set up is I have my right index finger set up to be the finger for the Touch ID, or fingerprint reader, whatever you want to call it. It's supposed to go like this. It'll read it about 25% of the time. Most of the time it just says screw off and you have to enter your PIN. Now that could just be an issue with the firmware. It could just be I don't have my finger perfect, whatever. Something like that. Not a big deal, but just something to keep in mind. Now, that is the only thing I want to talk about. One other thing I want to talk about is I/O. It's a little dark in here, but you can kind of see it. Here we have a 3.5mm audio jack, USB, HDMI, USB, Ethernet, full-size SD card reader. Come along to the other side, we have 2 USB-Cs, fan, and then whatever the fuck that is. Both USB-Cs are capable of charging and outputting, I think. I know the one definitely is. I should have tested that before the video, but I know at least one of them is capable of doing everything. But I know for a fact both of them can charge. So with that being said, now here's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share, comment. If you have any other, ideas for a video I could do, if you have any suggestions, if you have any complaint, whatever, leave them in the comments. I'll read them. I might reply. Depends how I feel. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and that'll be it.